If you've ever woken up on Thursday and thought, hey, today's Friday, and then instantly been disappointed, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. You know the drill, so I'm just going to run the intro.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks. Good morning. That's right. We are back and we are going to do some more trading. Good morning, everybody. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Manny, welcome to the club. Welcome to the fam. Shannon, good to see you as well. Part of the fam. Likewise, Becca, Jonathan, Market Sniper, Richard, Steady User, Brian, and Jonathan, and Smoke Tuna. Let's get it rolling. You know, I got my buddy 13 in the back. 13, how you doing today?
Doing all right this morning. How's chat doing? Just writing down all my things that I want to maybe look at, trade today, and talk about.
Okay, well, let's just not waste any time. Dive in and prepare the group with the list of things that we have. I think that we should, of course, take a look here at the SPY first. Let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. I'll give you my little opinion on the SPY here. 13, I know that you've got one too. Would love to hear it. After yesterday, we really just kind of had a snapback day, right? The IWM had led the way down. Then yesterday, it led the way back up. Today, it looks like we're up a little bit, but I don't have any clear indication on where we're going to go. That being said, I do expect this 500 number to be in play. I wouldn't be surprised if we traded above and below it and changed from support to resist a couple of times before we figure out where we're going to go. Maybe we even get pinned at 500 here on the SPY. Not really. I mean, unless we really kind of break to new highs or really start to break down on volume, there's not really a whole lot that I take away from this. Yesterday, we traded on lower than average volume. We'll see what the volume looks like here today. But right now, I think maybe we're in that phase where we might just kind of chop around this morning. 13, anything for you on SPY that you want to cover before we move over? I know you were vigorously writing down stuff over there. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I'm just writing down the different things about the movers that we're seeing today. As far as the SPY goes, we created this gap down on Tuesday, and we saw some of that gap get filled yesterday. And we had discussed that we probably might see the rest of it get filled in pre-market. That actually happened. And then once we get to that 500 level, or once we fill that gap, whether it be in pre-market, regular session, or whenever, I said that just like you said, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know that we're going to necessarily go and start making new all-time highs, but sideways sounds more likely. It's kind of just a big question mark right now. We just filled that gap. So do we reverse here? Do we plow through it and keep going on more irrationality? Or is this going to be the signal to where people or investors start taking their profits and getting out for the short time? Not sure. We're going to find out. We'll make sense of it once we see some more price action.
Okay, perfect. And that's kind of where I sit too, right? I'm not necessarily sure which direction. I could easily see us consolidate, could easily see us trade around that 500 level, could see some multiple trades from that 500 level, both maybe breakdowns or breakouts, but we'll see where we end up settling. Now, that tends to be secondary because we're actually going to have quite a bit of movers here today. Now, first one I'm going to start with here is sound, because I noticed that a lot of you in the chat are taking a look at this. This has a huge gap. We're up 83% here today. Now, there's a couple of things going on here that we should discuss. First, the why is it moving here that's printed at the top says SoundHound AI shares are trading higher after NVIDIA reported a 1.73 million share stake in the company. One thing that we were seeing last night on Twitter, I saw it from someone that I trust, was saying that this was actually an older deal from 2017 and NVIDIA just kind of added to it. So it's not necessarily a new position, rather it's an increased stake. But the other thing that we saw in the newsfeed yesterday was we had another report here that BlackRock reports a 5.6% passive stake via a 13G filing that we have here in Benzinga Pro. So regardless of some of the details, clearly there's more interest here in Sound, and that's driving the company up here. Now, as far as where's this stock going to go? I could see it doing both things here today. I could see it trading up and I could see it pulling back. I don't know which one it's going to do, but what I'm going to watch for here on the downside is going to be a break of 4. If we break down through 4, I'm really going to need this stock to settle and find some support, because I think that it could continue to break down. On the other hand, if we break off 450, maybe we get one of those big momentum runs. And frankly, we've got 430 there ahead of time that we're really going to need to take out. So 13, I'd really like to know what you have planned here for Sound. Again, I know a lot of members in the chat are talking about Sound. Would love to know what you folks have a plan for as well here today.
I do like the that break that you just mentioned. That seems to be the current resistance level. We've tested it twice in pre-market. This does have 180 million share float, so this might slow down pretty quickly. It also has a almost 14% short interest, but the days to cover is 3.89. We want to see at least 5 to get a better feel that there's going to be a short squeeze in this. As far as this one goes, I don't know that I'll be trading this one a whole lot. I think there's some other names that are more attractive to trade this morning.
Okay, so Sound definitely going to be one of the top watches here for me today. Let me see. Looks like a number of you folks. Carmen, looks like you were buying this early this week. Awesome stuff. That is great. So we'll see. I had a buy on Sound, but it didn't meet my price target. Okay, so we'll see here on Sound. This one definitely going to be a top watch. Wouldn't be surprised at all if this one really goes. Now, the next one here is going to be JXJT, and this is JX Lux Venture. I've never brought this up. I know. I've never pulled this stock up in my broker or in pro until this morning. So I know very little about it. I'm not going to pretend like I know a whole lot about it. But one of the things that we'll take a look at here, they're engaged in business of menswear, cross-border merchandise, airfare, and tourism. Company operates in 3 segments: tourism products, technology, and cross-border merchandise. Majority of group revenue is generated from the tourism products. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. I'll be honest with you. I know the chart here it's really, really pushing up. This stock was $1.20 yesterday. It printed 10s this morning. I mean, I'm sure you guys are tired of me saying be careful, but with this stock, be careful. Looks like we did have a Form 20F in the after hours yesterday. I don't really see a whole lot. Let's see if we have this article in here, which comes from another partner of ours, basically saying that this is trading up on higher than average volume. Now, I can confirm the volume, but I can't confirm any type of catalyst. On average, the stock trades less than 6,000 shares per day. Let that sink in for a sec. Less than 6,000 shares per day. Today, we've traded just under 25 million. So this thing's going to be wild. I mean, 13, I'd love to hear what you have to say, but really the only thing I can think of for playing this one is going to be just technical levels, right? Use risk management and technical levels to determine entry and exit, and don't be afraid to take your gains.
Yeah, this is just a trading vehicle. Like a lot of these that we have seen over the past couple of weeks, just have really no business. They're just kind of out there for trading. They have low float, 5.69 million shares. They just had not just, but they had a reverse split last year in April. So they're checking that box to a degree. Just another one of these junky names that really doesn't, pull in any money. It's just a trading vehicle. So if this is running, let's jump on the train and get off before it derails.
Okay. That's what we'll do.
That's what we'll do.
I'll be honest. I don't know on JXJT. I probably will not trade this one here today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't want to speak too soon. We'll see how the day shakes out. Next one here I have on the list is DXF. This marks another one that I've never pulled up in my broker and never pulled up in pro here. Dunzin Financial Holdings here. Looks like the stock was 40 cents and now entering the $1 level. We traded as high as 180 or a little bit higher than 180. It's really kind of pulled back here. Actually, go ahead and let me add my VWAP here to the chart. We actually have pulled back to the VWAP. This one I also didn't see any news for.
Nope. No news.
No news on this. So just kind of a technical trader. Again, very, very risky. I think this is another Chinese name.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So just keep that in mind here. Business of providing loan facilities to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and sole props in the Hubei province.
Yeah, you can always click on the company's homepage, and if you can read the lettering that comes up first, then congratulations, you can read Chinese or Cantonese or Mandarin. I don't know. I'm not sure which lettering it is in. But this is just another one of these no news, low float names. I have 3 today. That's 2 of them. The other one we'll probably get to in a second here. But this has 2.36 million float. They also did a reverse split back in July.
Okay, so there you go. There are some of the catalysts. This totally risky. I mean, I think personally we should look for some better stocks than these top 2 here. CHNR, this is China Natural Resources. This was the third one that you had on your list, right? Yep. 13. I might as well just why don't you go ahead and start with CHNR here?
Okay, so again, no news. They did a reverse split back in April, and they have 2.69 million float. So it's just the same as the other 2 we mentioned before. Just no news. It's just a trading vehicle. They're just pushing this around because it's low float. Not sure what the natural resources are. Maybe it's FOMO.
The natural resources FOMO. That's actually pretty good. This really looks like it's just sitting on a 3 handle right now. We'll see if it breaks down from here. I got the VWAP at 408, so maybe if it does kind of close that gap to 408, there's a trade here. But again, not a whole lot of substance here. Now, next, the chat can barely even contain themselves. It can't even really wait for us to go through other tickers. They're just mentioning NNOX here. So this is Nano X Imaging. Now, this one we've traded here before. I know I've seen this on the relative volume scanner. Stock was about $6 yesterday. In the after hours, ramped up, doubled, hit almost 13. Today, we pulled back. We did take out those highs. We did print 13. In fact, we're currently printing above 13 as it stands. Now, in here, I don't see any
NVIDIA stake.
Yeah, the NVIDIA stake from yesterday. That's right. That's why I don't see it today, because this happened yesterday. NVIDIA reports a 60,000 just about share stake in NanoX Imaging. So 60,000 shares, the stock's up 100%. You tell me if that makes sense here. Float 54 million on this one. Average volume about 819,000 this morning. We've already traded just about 9 million shares of volume, so we're much over the average. You can see what it's doing here to the price. I can't tell you if this is a fair price for it or not. To me, it feels like this run is extended.
Well, as Jay Rice was pointing out, it is heavily shorted. I have oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong date. No, it's doing that thing with the Benzinga again. I wrote it down. And maybe this is not correct now, but it should be 13.5% float shorted with 12.34 days to cover. That's quite high. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so 13.5% short.
Yep.
Float shorted, and it's 12.34 days to cover. We typically want to see over 5. That's well over that number, so a while to cover this. For the shorts. So that's going to squeeze, and I think that's what we might be seeing here today on the heels of the NVIDIA reported stake.
Yeah, and you're getting it here from the chat. Jay here mentioned this is heavily shorted. We just gave you the short interest. It's up here on the screen. Exactly. Then this might go right. We'll see. We'll see how this one actually performs. Now, let's see. I did have IFBD here. I got 2 more that I wanted to go through. IFBD is one that we've absolutely traded before. This is InfoBird. This thing really kind of ramped to traded above 170. Looks like it actually topped there at 170. We came back. We're making a move to the VWAP. We'll see if this one actually gets going here today. Again, I've traded this before, so I don't feel all that bad about it. Don't really see any fresh news in here. This looks like it's kind of moving on momentum. On average, trades under 1 million shares, about 770,000. Today, we've traded over 4 million. Floats about 10 million here on this name. So I'll see if we can get this. This is going to be all technical stuff for me. This is none of this is going to get held. If I get gains in any of these trades, I'm going to take them. I'm going to continue to try to work on scaling out of them in case one of them goes absolutely nuts. We've actually seen that recently, so kind of wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of these really kind of outsized runs again. So we'll see on IFBD. Two more that I wanted to cover here, and then honorable mentions to RGTI, that's Rigetti, and then BBAI. If those actually pop on the relative volume scanner, we'll check on them. I know they're gapping up here, but there's a lot of other stuff that we have ahead of that. Now, the other two that I wanted to check here is going to be DWAC. Now, DWAC, we have talked about a absolute ton, right? There have been catalysts that have caused this to move. The moves have been outsized. I mean, just simply taking a look at the daily chart, this stock was really just kind of meandering around in the high teens. And then all of a sudden there was a catalyst. And several weeks later, here we are near 60. So there's absolutely trades to be had here in DWAC if you can stomach some of the volatility. Looking at the daily chart here, it sure looks like we're going to try to trade above that recent high and make a run towards 60. We've really kind of come off the 35 handle once we traded back down. If we take a look at the intraday here, you can see we just kind of gapped up a little bit, and then as soon as the volume expanded, we got a big $8 move here. We're right at the highs. Really what we'd like here is for this to come back into the VWAP, give you some type of entry trigger. I'm not sure if you folks have any other type of entry trigger for some of these fast moving, higher spread momentum stocks. Would love to hear about it. But for me, I would love to see that come back in to a support here. Let's see if we had any news here.
We did.
Advances in business combination process. Digital World Acquisition Corp and Trump Media and Technology Group announce effectiveness of Form S4 registration statement. What did you have for this one?
Yeah, it was that. Basically, what EKS was just mentioning, that they essentially cleared the SEC cleared the way for the merger. So
it looks like the merger that they're planning here has been approved, or I like how you say it, cleared the way for that merger to take place. That's causing the stock to trade up 30% here today. As Jay mentioned here in the chat, DWAC does have some high short interest. Now, I know as of the last report, the days to cover went down to 1, but it's important to understand what days to cover actually is. Days to cover is going to look at the average volume and the shares that are actually short, and then calculate how long it would take to cover up those shorts. One of the things that you can see from this table here is that when we updated that last, the volume jumped from on average 100 to 200,000 shares to 10 million shares. So that increased volume is going to allow those shorts to cover. That's why the days to cover went from 20 to 1. Keep in mind that the actual short interest has grown, right? So even with that last print, the short interest went from 2.15 million shares to 3.16 million shares. So despite the days to cover coming down, that only happened because of the actual volume in it. That is important to remember. If there's a lot of momentum in here, maybe some of those shorts can cover up. But to Jay's point, this is another name that's highly shorted. So anyway, and Jay also mentioning here, YOLO trade, someone bought 5K weekly 50 calls at 40 cents yesterday. Look, This is one of the things that this stock can do. When we talk about YOLOs, when we talk about some of these stocks that have just incredible juice and are able to move like this can be a way to play it. Now, 5K calls at 40 cents, that would never be a YOLO trade for me, but nonetheless, just taking a couple of these, or even if you followed a couple of these into that trade yesterday, you'd be having a pretty good morning here. So something else to keep in mind on some of these stocks that really move. Jay, if you see any of those other unusual option prints or YOLO option prints, shout them out, because we might be able to make a trade off of that. Yep. So, okay. Merger helped out my timing. Well, good. Sometimes we need some help. Sometimes we need a little bit of luck. Awesome that it worked for you, Shannon. We can give you a register ring here early on. Okay, the other one that I wanted to cover here real quick was RXRX. It's because we've talked about it before. I think, Carmen, you might actually be holding this. We did have some news here on this morning. Recursion Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after NVIDIA reported a 7.7 million share stake in the company. Joe, what's going on? Is NVIDIA just buying up companies and reporting stakes in companies and having them move? I mean, I feel like that's been a theme this morning.
It's a buzzword now.
It absolutely is a buzzword.
Yeah. Iman, I'm not sure I could be able to pronounce your name without absolutely butchering it, but he's mentioning NMG, and I would love to get to that one too, because this one actually looks like a good stock. I'm talking about this one actually inked a multi-year agreement with GM, and they have a 42 million share float. So I don't see any short interest. I don't see any, well, not much short interest. I don't see any reverse splits. So it's not checking those boxes. I think based on the news, this is a little bit stronger. I guess I could call it than some of these other ones we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think this news catalyst carries a little bit more weight. Right. I think that this is not as fluffy of a catalyst. Rather, this actually has some substance to it.
Yeah. So this one could be good. I want to say maybe throughout the whole day. I'm not sure. It just depends on how the market wants to trade it.
Yeah.
But this seems like this actually has a lot more substance to it than the other ones we've been talking about.
NMG signs an offtake agreement with GM for Canadian graphite and $150 million equity investment. So to your point there, we'll see how this actually trades. The one thing we will note here in the pre-market, this actually spiked up almost to 5 and came all the way back in. Now it's doing a good job basing here. So this might give us, or consolidating basing, this might give us an opportunity to trade it from this area, but we'll see when the market actually opens. A steady user saying no trading before market open is a good practice, right? That depends. It's a good practice for me. We actually had Jay, I believe, earlier this week, or was it last week? I can't remember, but Jay, you had bought something in the pre-market that you were just selling into strength during the regular session. So I don't want to say that there's a blanket rule, it's bad or it's good. For me, I noticed that when I was buying things in the pre-market, I'd often be getting burned by them. So I just kind of stopped and waited for the market to open so I could get more of that volume and perhaps make a better decision. But that's not a one-size-fits-all answer. I personally don't. It's just something that I recognized in my own trading. Okay.
Yeah. For pre-market and aftermarket trading, it's like we said it before, it's a different animal. It's not necessarily a good or bad practice to try to trade those hours, but it's just what's your risk tolerance like? How are you going to be able to manage those trades? Is this something that you're comfortable doing? If you can say yes to those, then it's not about practice. It's about what you're willing to risk, and if you can handle that risk. I generally don't want to trade in the pre-market or after hours. I like the flexibility in the regular session. So that's why I trade the regular session market. I haven't had as much luck with pre-market or after hours, even though I have done it before and I might do it again. Yep. Sometimes I'll just buy things right before they open.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's hard. It's difficult for us to come up with blanket statements. Here's the example I was referring to. Jay saying, I love trading pre-post market. You have to be careful, which I totally agree with, by the way. Sold some lift over 20 yesterday. Jay, weren't you buying that up in like the 16s or even the 15s? Got a really good buy by buying it in the pre-market and then used patience to kind of just sell that throughout the course of the day. So well said there. No black and white answer. Really just kind of figure out what works for you. It's like that old adage. You go to the doctor, says, doctor, it hurts when I do this. And the doctor says, well, stop doing that. If that's what's happening with your trading here, it's exactly the same thing. If you're getting smoked in the pre-market, stop trading in the pre-market. It's fairly simple there. Fairly simple. Lift buy was lift B at 1W2. 12. Okay, here's your first buy was at 12. Okay, good trade there, Jay. You can get another register ring here today. That's pretty awesome. Okay, I've got it flipped over to the main workspace here. We're going to observe the scanner. We do have exactly a minute until the market opens here. Any words of wisdom by anybody out there? Even Wisdom, who sometimes joins us, probably not here yet. Probably not here yet this morning. Flip over. Didn't really see anything on the Twitter streets this morning that was interesting. A couple of people talking about NNOX. I suspect some of your Twitter traders to be involved in NNOX. LFMA got mentioned. Trade the Pool, by the way, they had a couple of Bitcoin stocks on watch here today, and I completely agree. I think Bitcoin is going to be hot. We saw it trade above 52K yesterday. You'll see Mara here actually took a leg higher in the after hours. Will be interesting to see if this can get up to that 31 level here on Mara. The other one here was going to be Coin, and this arguably is my favorite stock related to Bitcoin because I think I trust it and understand it a little bit more. Really quick, Trade the Pool. Resistance here at 178 and support at 169. All right, so I'm going to take a look at the scanner here for the first 5 minutes. Then I'm going to flip over to the Trade the Pool broker where we will actually execute some trades today. Good luck, everybody. Don't panic. I look, if Richard's going to give us good advice, I'm going to highlight it. Don't panic today.
He's probably reading the back of. He's probably reading the back cover of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Does it say "Don't panic" there?
Right on the cover.
Bang. Bang.
I'm a nerd.
All right. So am I. I wouldn't even worry about that at all. Here's this JXJT. It looks like 850 here. DXF looks like that's moving up off the VWAP. China Natural Resource looks like this is going to drop here. Let's see. Oh, it lost 3. So let's see if it can actually hold 250 here. I don't like any of these names off the open, by the way. Not one.
Dude, me both.
DXF has been halted. So that was halted to the upside. That does look like a volatility halt. Yeah. Jay, so let's talk about this here real quick. 13, if you have any type of trade to mention, go ahead and mention it. Just interrupt me. But Jay here mentioning that the 3D names caught a bid yesterday. And thankfully they did. We actually saw this. I was watching SSYS again. This is a stock that I've held. I'm finally back to even on this thing. It has not been a good trade here for me.
Trying the acquisition?
What's that?
You're trying the acquisition with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was a few times. Now, Cantor, of course, on Tuesday of this week, Cantor initiated coverage on Stratasys, announced $24 price target, overweight rating. That was pretty good. Cantor initiates coverage on 3D Systems and Stratasys with a buy equivalent rating. So again, both the names here that Jay is mentioning were upgraded by Cantor. There was talk about a potential merger or a buyout here. The tech at SSYS is well liked. So I'm still in this, but to be honest with you, I would like to close this. I would like to close this because overall I'm bearish on the market and I'd like to just move to cash on this position. But haven't done that yet. I will update you when I do that. I'm sorry, 13. What ticker was that?
I was just calling out DTSS. I think somebody mentioned it earlier, but this one's doing the opposite of what the others are doing. It's going up.
Okay. So and really quickly, Sound, by the way, first move here was down. It's been bought back to the VWAP. So let's see what happened there. DTSS, I'm going to flip over to 13. Here you go. Rocket out of the gate. So some of these momentum names, the momentum's not over till it's over. And clearly here at the open, DTSS still has some of it.
Yes, sir.
Day 2 looking good, says Webcoin. CHNR, China Natural Resources, being called by WIS here. Maybe that's bottomed and trading back up. We'll see.
Oh, it looks like China might be going. CHNR.
Lift, some continuation from yesterday.
China.
Here is CHNR. Now. This might be.
It is suspended, or it's halted. Yeah.
CHNR is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. LRMR, thank you, Bex. This is trading up. This is trying to take out yesterday's intraday high here. Watch this. I've got this at 1286. What's going on with this one? LRMR. That's not one I looked into this morning. Let me see if there's any news. That's Laminar Therapeutics. Clinical stage biotech company focused on developing treatments for patients suffering from complex rare diseases. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Let me take a look here at the news on this one.
This isn't the one that has multiple drugs in the pipeline, is it?
No, that wasn't that we got asked about some penny stock therapeutics and happy hour. I think that was SGMO. We definitely didn't look at our LRMR. Need to do a little bit more work on this, but this is pricing of an underwritten public offering of common stock. So they got an offering out of the way Wednesday this week at 874. Stock's moving higher after the offering. Definitely a good sign. I'm going to add this one to the watch list. I don't know enough about this, Bex, but this is not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it looks like NNOX is starting to go. I'm going to try some here at VWAP.
Okay. Come on, chart resolve here. Okay, so I have a VWAP at 1107. Great buy if you got it down there. We're actually bouncing above 12 here. Nice job, 13.
All right.
Looking around the market here real quick.
I'm going to sell out. Okay, I'm going to sell out now. I just wanted to get a break off over 12.
Nice job, though. Quick little scalp there. Get some green on the screen, my man.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's probably going to end up going a lot more here too, but I want to see if this it can hold this EMA.
Voodoo, good morning, and great to see you here. Good call too. Tesla, a little dip and rip here, right? How many times have we seen this? Looks like this dipped to 189 right off that opening print, and then bang, big time buying volume took it through the VWAP. Looks like we hit a high of just above 192.50. Let me see. Anyone got levels for Tesla here today? Because I could totally see this one continuing to move here today. Trade the pool levels here. Resistance at 195. So got a couple more points on the upside here. Support at 189. Boy, it bounced right off that. Trade the pool right on here with the Tesla levels. Look for this to try and test 195 on the upside.
I have 194. So
okay, 194, 195. Let's call it an area. No, let's call that a resistance area. Absolutely. No. Tesla, that is a really clean bomb, but man, Gil really getting it done. You just love to see it.
Yeah, my support for Tesla is 180 and my resistance is 194. Those are the two big levels I have right now.
Okay, so it looks like we missed. As far as a buy here, buy was definitely down at that 189 handle, missed that. Hopefully Lynn and Randy hit that, but that's moving up here. Johnny mentioning that PLCE halted to this is Children's Place. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had this one on my list too. This one has got an 8.42 million float. The short interest is 24.63% with 4.46 days to cover. So kind of, in the short squeeze area there. But they have there was some kind of agreement that they signed to. I think it's better to just read the headline because I couldn't write everything down about what's happening with that.
Okay, you want me to do that? Here, go ahead. Let's do that. That's PLCE. Let me bring that up here. I'll go ahead and read the headline for you here right out of Pro. Children's Place said received correspondence from Snowball Compounding, parties related to Mythic Capital, notifying that they own about 54% of the company's stock and intends to accept Mythac's request to enter into discussions regarding provisions of financing to assist with the company's liquidity needs. Gosh, that is a mouthful. Did a lawyer write that? Because that is not, I mean.
That's why I wanted you to read it, because I don't think I could have wrote all that down or articulated it as as well.
Yeah, I like this summary right above it. Mythic Capital takes control, proposes a board reshuffle at Children's Place. So that's
easier.
Yeah, that to me seems like that's much easier. And then it's also worth noting here, we did have some insider buys per the news feed as well. So if you take a look at the insider here, looks like, the 13th, you had two. You had a director and a 10% owner, and then again on the 14th, another 10% owner. So one of those was a grant. I beg your pardon. The other one was a buy here. So. Jay, you're already on top of it. PLCE, what a move after a huge insider buy. So there you go. Price was under 5 days ago. Huge move here for Children's Place. A double up in 5 days. I noticed that Shack is on the relative volume scanner here. Shake Shack trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 results and issued guidance. I had the wrong screen shared this whole time. I'm so sorry, guys. That frustrates me when I do that. Here is Shake Shack. This looks like this is trying to take out 95. Maybe we'll take out some of those pre-market highs there. Netflix 2-day rip.
Oh, Big Lots got to 4 and then came back in.
Now, Big Lots, this is ticker big. We talked about this being a potential short squeeze. Boy, I got to get myself together here. I cannot type or do anything correctly this morning. Big Lots, we took a look at this in terms of some of the short interest, higher days to cover, high percent of its float shorted. This might be a squeeze here. Certainly looks like this is kind of bottomed here, right? I got about 350 as the bottom. Take a look at the daily chart. In fact, let me go back to... Here we go.
One of the things about Big Lots that we liked with the short squeeze theory is that it does the daily chart does look like it has double bottomed. So I mean that's the formation that we can currently see right now. So we could come back up to where this gap is at about 433 and fill that all the way up to about 520. I don't have exact measurements, but that's about the range. So that's what we're looking at right now. Probably have this resolved over, this week, next week, something like that. But that's the trade that we're trying to do right now, is see if we can get this to squeeze.
Yeah, and I do have those numbers for you here. Absolutely. Double bottom at 350. I have it marked off at 352, but let's call it 350. The gap actually starts at the top of this candle. Let me see here. Top of this candle here is 430. That would be where your gap starts. That gap doesn't fill until the low of this candle at 524. So you got a pretty good range in there if we do, in fact, get a gap fill. And if that's powered by the short squeeze, any type of short squeeze effect, you could be in business here on big. So keep this one on your radar as well. Looks like IFBD is being mentioned here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, see if we're going to trade this. IFBD. Bang, Infobird, big rip, actually breaking above its pre-market highs here. See if this can actually, I see a lot of size on the offer right up around this 180 level. So let's see if we can actually move through it, or if this comes back in. You might get another chance here to buy this one if it does.
Yeah, and we're also getting a New York Community Bank Corp, NYCB, being mentioned by Yacht Insurance, the guy in Florida. This one,
NYCB, we've traded this one quite a bit recently. I know Richard was trading this one. Last time we were trading it, this was in a 6 handle. Looks like this is moving here, trying to retake 5.
Yeah, this is just, got hammered from their earnings report. We're, everything that is giving this up move is trying to pull it out of the gutter that it's in. It also has some very low RSI on the daily. That's contributing to that move up too. So we have a lot of these names that we were looking at this morning that are just halted. Some of these older ones too. Rail Vision halted to the upside again. Wow, this one's coming back. RVSN.
Yeah, RVSN having a wild day here. The other thing, real quick, I wanted to mention here, Frog. This is an AI name, isn't it? JFrog. Yeah. This trading up fairly nicely here today, trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued Q1 adjusted EPS and revenue guidance above estimates. So nice little guide higher here on Frog. That's causing that to move. Sally, you were mentioning that Zim is moving here today. Yes, remember, that has been under 12 the last, I think, 2 sessions. Now we have that break above 12. Nice little power candle here on Zim. Good call on that one. We're still long Zim as a swing in this account.
Yeah, I'm trying to get updated Drury shipping rates. I don't think it's, it hasn't quite updated the movement over the past week for me in terms of figures. Still says February 8th. So.
Okay, so we don't have that new data yet anyway. Jay, this is an interesting observation. NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Google weakest in the queues here today. That, I would say that initially that would tell me that we're probably going to be weak all day if these big leaders are still weak. Microsoft, as far as Microsoft goes, I actually think that you probably have some support here right around 404, currently at 406.79, so a little bit more room.
That was Sydney. Yeah, Sydney, you're holding RSV and warrants.
RSVNW is the ticker for those warrants. I don't have it here. RVSN, excuse me. 12 cents on those warrants. I normally don't try.
Yeah, I don't know if you're happy or upset that you own them. I can't tell from the emoji you got, but if it's working for you, I'm glad.
Sound might be curling here. MACD looking good. Maybe coming up off the bottom. Feel like I missed it.
Some of these are. XJT looks like it's slowing down, trying to get support from the 65 EMA.
That was halted earlier, wasn't it? JXJT.
It sure was.
Yeah, it sure was. Maybe this price is slowing here. NNOX is open. Thank you, Mark. Let's take a look at that. Look at NNOX moving back to the lows here.
Did not hold that EMA I was talking about earlier. That's why I got out.
Bang.
It was a small trade too. I didn't make a lot of that. Just like
no, that was a bounce though, right? That was that bounce off the VWAP that we see on that opening candle. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like how Zim's just absolutely flying right now. There must be some news tied to this. Unless
it's moving up
just the movement.
From that idea, Zim still pressing those highs. Jay, I can't even tell if you're joking with this. I can't even tell if you're joking with this. SMCI only up 70.
What's going on? Why is it lagging?
Oh man, this thing. I mean, this daily chart might be the funniest looking daily chart in the market right now. It is just completely vertical here, only up 70 early on.
A Zoltan special is moving right now. ALB.
Oh, which one?
ALB.
ALB. This is Albemarle, one of the rare earth guys, right? Big move here in Albemarle.
I think they just had earnings. I think he was playing it for the earnings. I don't want to, say he was doing this and doing that because I don't know exactly what his thought behind it was. But he called this days ago, and it's been moving pretty well. So I'm not sure what he saw, but he saw.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like kind of a bottomed out chart. If you look at the daily chart, really does look like it found some support right in here. What I've got this at like 110 to 115, maybe. Nice little move off that level here.
DTSS might be taking another leg up here. Couldn't do it with those first 15 minutes. Got a lot of upper shadows. Still trying to get through the VWAP that I have. Hasn't succeeded yet, but it's trying right now.
Yeah, so it's still flirting with that VWAP here, and it actually, that knife got bought on this candle. So
yeah, so that's maybe just watch DTSS for the moment, but it's really having a hard time getting a close above VWAP.
ASPN, this actually popped out of the gate here. This looks like this is going to try to take new highs here on ASPN. This is Aspen Aerogen. What is that? Aerogels?
A little
Aerogels.
Aspen.
Is that it from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. The good one. They made a second one. It was not great.
Here we go. This is why. So we talked a little bit about options when we had Anne Marie on yesterday. This is why when I think I even said that I've been lured in by the siren song of options. This is it right here. Jay's giving it to you. Some traders spent $50K on March calls in early January. They were worth $44 million yesterday. So just goes to show you the type of leverage that you can get on options. But boy, oh boy, you had better be right. You had better be right, or those will expire worthless. Monster trade. Wish that was me, right? Jay, we'd be golfing. We'd be on a golf trip right now if that were me. Holy smokes.
SMCI is now is it now the largest holding? As I thought that was the IWM was mostly regional banks, but I can understand if that's now the largest holding because of the run it's had.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know off the top of my hand, but I wouldn't be surprised. Mike's asking what's going on with Lyft today. Follow through from the power earnings we had yesterday.
Oh, go Zim. You get over 13 and I'm taking some profits.
I guess technically it was the day before. Anyway. They will not expire worthless. No. As a matter of fact, they won't. Hopefully those gains get booked.
Hollow is also rearing its head again. It shot up to $25 after opening. What would we open at? Like somewhere under 24. I don't know. This is, if it works.
IFBD. So IFBD had a nice little spike, took out those highs. It's coming back in. This actually might be a decent buy down near 115. I actually have the intraday low print here at 115, and I have a bid under it at 114. So this is worth watching here. If this holds at this 114, 115 level, might be a possible entry here on InfoBird, ticker IFBD.
Oh my goodness. Look at you go, Zim. There has to be some kind of news tied to this. It hasn't really moved a whole lot lately. So I'm just curious.
We said we poked around, right? And we didn't find anything. You were checking jewelry, right? You just said that a second ago. Come on, Goldfish Brain, Ryan. Yeah, I don't see any news here. I don't see anything fresh, but you're right. This is a pretty decent move here.
Yeah, it could come back
on volume too. On volume.
Yeah. Looks like NYCB is trying to make a new intraday high. JXJT not doing the things it was doing in pre-market. This thing is headed lower.
Yeah, that thing looks like junk to me. InfoBird still holding in here. Yeah,
DTSS is not having a good time trying to get over that VWAP. It's
APLT, this is Applied Therapeutics. This was really kind of just trading sideways and compressing along the VWAP. I gotta think it doesn't stay here. It's either going to break up or break down. Place your bets. I'd on this, on APLT, I'd be obviously playing to the long side here. No position yet though. Children's Place is halted. You guys are mentioning PLCE. God, this has got to be a squeeze move. I think this stock was $5 not long ago. I mean, this has got to be a squeeze move here.
24.63% short interest with 4.46 days to cover.
Yeah, that to me is telling us we got a squeezer on our hands here. PLC. Don't be afraid to pay yourself on the way up.
Hollow going higher.
MNOX looks like that bottomed here and is closing the gap back to the VWAP. Nice job, Mark. Hopefully you played that one.
And I don't like saying hollow's going higher because it's been fun to trade, but if it keeps doing this, I get really skeptical about trading these. It's like it's going to just absolutely knife out of the blue for no good reason. It's like, oh, hey, we've trapped enough people up here. Let's go ahead and sell.
CHNR looks like maybe this did come off that 250 level. Yeah, 250 here. This is actually a dollar move back to the VWAP here on CHNR.
Take care, Richard.
Take care of yourself, Richard. Notice that INOD, one of the holdings that I had here, really selling off.
Good. I want entry.
Yeah, I know. You guys that see, I'm still in it. I'm still looking to unload this here. I really want 13s. Thought we might get that here. I don't think so. Should have sold this morning. INOD coming back in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll get under 10. That's what I would prefer because I sold most of mine just in the 11 area. So I didn't get to capture any of the movement up into the 12.
Webcoin is saying that there's a short report on INOD. Interesting.
Oh.
Let me go see if I can take a look at that. That would be good. Actually.
Shiner's going.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to push through VWAP at the moment.
Let me see if I can find that.
Looks like NNOX is trying to stay above the 65 EMA. Not sure how that one's going to work out. I have to come back to that. Soundhound kind of going sideways after the drop. I'm not too confident in this one. Oh my gosh.
If I can find some information here on Twitter. Sorry.
Next level I have in Hollow is about 28.10, and we're less than $2 away. Spirit Airlines.
Wolfpack Research. We are short INOD because our research shows that this is not a serious AI company. We think it's a deteriorating, low-margin data entry business posing as an AI company. I don't think that's true.
I want to hear Andy tear that report apart.
Yeah, well, I actually want to get a copy of the report myself and read through it.
Yeah, I bet he was selling up here too for that one, or at least when that came out. I don't want to speculate. That's rude of me. Wow, NYCB not able to get into new highs. It just kind of runs up there and then comes back in. Now we're getting some upper shadows that aren't looking too good either. Okay, so China's suspended again. ALB still moving up. This is monster. This thing was at it was under 110. Now it's pushing 123.
That was a nice move here. That was a great call by Zoltan.
Good job, Zoltan. And now Zoltan's talking about
INOD.
Yeah. Give him a thumbs up for that.
Is he
All
in
right.
here? No. Okay.
I don't know if he's in here, but he's in the happy hour chat. All right. Let's see. What else can we trade here, folks? ARM at VWAP. Let's take a look at ARM. Okay, so it's trying to push through. Is there? What was going on with ARM? Was there? It was coming down yesterday, right? Is this just kind of like the bounce?
Yeah, there was news here on ARM. So, so yeah, that sold off in the morning yesterday. Let me just try and grab that for you. That was behind the scenes of ARM Holdings' latest option trends. There was some ARM shares are trading higher amid a rebound in tech stocks. Gosh, come on. NVIDIA reported a 1.9% share stake in ARM. Blackstone liquidates its stake in ARM. That was in the afternoon.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? Think Bitcoin's hitting 53K this day?
Yeah, it already did on the futures. We printed 53, 145 already. We dipped beneath it, but that's still making higher lows on that chart.
INOT is really coming in.
It's really getting hammered.
Gosh, do I leave my orders out there? No, I'll leave them out there. You know, it's funny because these short reporters, they really dig into it too.
Yeah,
they really look into. So
they did research, but it often takes a while for that to materialize.
Yeah. All right. Looks like I have my eyes on CLSK right now. Let's move on. Lots of things are just coming down. Big might be setting up to go higher.
Kyle James saying Sound up huge. Sound has sold off since the open, Kyle.
Kyle, it went up in after hours and pre-market. You're right about that, but since the open, it has not done that. Okay, Hollow coming back in. This
Frog
is the kind of thing
actually doing a good job holding above the VWAP here. Here's Hollow. This coming back towards that VWAP.
Okay, so SPY under 500 again. I don't know if you've noticed the SPY this morning, but it has just been sideways. Ever since pre-market, it's been sideways, trying to get over 500, getting smacked back down. No, that gets back down to about 499, comes back up. We're just in a dollar range today with the SPY. Okay, you seen anything out there? I see a couple things setting up. Lots of things just coming down, though. It still looks like NYCB is setting up to go higher. Not sure when or if it could.
Take a look here at NYCB.
Because it has a nice bull pennant formation there out of the open. If it holds VWAP, then that would be good. That would give me confidence that we could break out of this 490 area that it's topped out at. So that's one thing that I'll be looking at for this one.
That actually looks like that could go higher. CHNR here now moving through the VWAP, maybe going higher here on CHNR.
That one's halted though, isn't it? Or suspended.
Oh, you know what? You might be right on that. Yep. That is in fact halted. And that was at 9:53. That should be opening here in about 6 minutes.
Yeah. ALB has just been the one that's been taken off. That's just wild. So it kind of makes me wonder, are we starting to see materials come back? If this is getting such a big move, or at least lithium, rare earths, that kind of thing. It's a question. I'm just kind of speaking out loud. All right, so DTSS is open now.
That's moving lower here. It's trying to bounce, but we'll see if that ends up doing it. Yeah. You know, this is actually where it bounced the first time, right when the market opened, when it had that power candle off the open. This is the exact same area it moved from.
Yeah, this move up would it would be more convincing to me if it got over VWAP, but we're still a little ways away from there. It's about $1.50 away.
And Knox, Mark, looks like you took entry here, 965. And Knox, looks like the selling has stopped here, but hasn't really shown its strength to bounce yet.
Yeah, you would have thought this one would have squoze a bit, but I guess the float size is making it a little hard. All right, time to scan through the list again.
And
all right, now China
bounce here.
Now China's open, and we're going a little bit higher here.
It's pushing away here from the VWAP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still rolling through some of the stocks on our list here. Here's Sound that is continuing to break down here.
Yeah, lots of downers today. All right,
IFBD really did bounce off the amazing. Bounced right off that 215. Took it off my screen. God, what's it?
Big did move up and did make a new intraday high, but it's pretty slow moving. Yeah, it looks like NYCB. This one looks like it's got the best setup right now. Just needs to start pushing away from VWAP. Oh, guess what?
Hey, Cal, thanks. Appreciate
Guess
that.
what? My orders in INARD are starting to fill.
Yeah, that's breaking below 10. This is this actually has me worried here. This is a big move down. I know it's a short report and it's important to not overreact here, but this sucking up all of the profit that I've had.
Well, we might get
really a rough move down here. Not good for longs. Down 21% here on INOD.
I'd be looking for it to rebound or get support. We're between here and 925. So just to take advantage of that, since I believe it, I will put another order out at 925.
INOD 950. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, and this is on technicals too.
930. I mean, holy smokes, what a pullback on INOD. Not good. Not good. Good job selling out of this one, Joe.
Well, I'm buying back into it now.
Yeah, I know, but it's just man, oh man. Man, oh man. Not a good short report.
All right, so big did the big move we were looking for. It broke out of that that candle that it just made. We're up to 420. So big lots doing the thing that we were looking for.
Yeah, my entry price on INOD was 667, so I still have a ways to go from bag home. But as you can see, I mean, I just lost a huge portion of the gains that I had in it. But no, not bag holding yet. And that's why I was saying when last time that we were talking about this, I was giving you my average saying don't chase it up here. High short interest. Now we know who it was, right? Wolfpack Research.
Well, so far it's this buying down here under 10 is doing okay. We're starting to reverse. I mean, don't know that this won't go lower, but if it does, I'll be ready. China, there we go. Of all the no news, low float names we were talking about, this is now the one moving.
This one, pretty much all green candles from that move off the bottom too.
Intraday, I'm sorry, not intraday. Pre-market high 625. Looks like NYCB still trying to get going out of that bull pennant. That'd be a great move if that happens. All right, INOD is knocking on the door of 10. And Shiner, ooh, look at it go. Which tool do you guys use here for what? What are you looking? What tool are you looking at that we're using, Krudik? NMG never made the moves that I was looking for. So sad. Hollow coming back in.
The platform that you see right now, this is Trade the Pool. They are a prop firm that will give you up to 260K in buying power. The one that we use for news is Benzinga Pro. So the one on the screen is the Trade the Pool. And then the other one that you've seen here, let's see if I can bring it up here for you. This one right here that's got my scanner, news, and all of the other tools that I use to select stocks to trade is Benzinga Pro.
Good morning, Dennis Diaz.
Is NNOX finally running, Mark? That was a good buy off that bottom there. Nope, not really. Still holding that same area. You're just wishing it. You're just wishing it to run.
China's the one that's running.
Yeah, I was going to say CHNR is the one that is really, really moving here.
And now look at INOD. Oh, what?
APTL. That's not a ticker. Looks like APLT here. That's still flagging here. You're saying, look at INOD. What's going on? On the 8s? No, it's bouncing here. Okay, it's about time.
And you know
time
what?
it was bouncing.
Guess where it bounced off of?
Right where you bought?
Well, no, I my first tranche was in 975. My second one was at 925. I'm 5 cents away from it hitting 925. That was.
So you didn't get filled on that last? Oh,
nope. So I'm just running with what I got at 975, which is fine. It is fine. Now China is suspended, and for good reason too. This thing's about to break the pre-market high. Oh, China. Big lots still trying to push.
I mean,
higher.
What a move, dude. This thing went from 250 to 615. Like, pissed I didn't trade this at this point. Should have just kept it on the screen instead of moving around. I'm doing too much moving around again here this morning.
There's just so much to look at too.
I know, but I got to stop looking at it. I have to stay on something so I can actually trade it. Like, I'm doing too much moving, not enough trading.
All right, NYCB, are you going to do the thing or not?
DTSS might be at the bottom here. That might be around. I don't know though.
I'm going to try NYCB for a break, and I'm going to keep my. Let's see. I'm going to put my stop at. We'll do it at 480. Just want to keep it tight.
Which stock are you on here?
This is NYCB. I want to see the.
Oh, that's right. You're trading that bank.
Yeah. Just keep a nice tight stop. Looking good so far. Yeah, Mark, that's, just so you don't have a whole lot of stuff on your screen. That's smart.
And full disclosure that when I'm trading, when I'm strictly trading, that's exactly what I do. 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on what's going on. But when you're hosting a show and you're constantly looking at tickers, it's very difficult to do that. Very, very difficult to do that. Right. DWAC, good call here, Parker. This actually curled up off that 50 level, it looks like.
And NOX is looking like it's starting to make some more moves. It's trying to get above 10 and stay there. That might be getting going.
Okay. I'm going to try some of this right here. See if we can get back up there.
NYCB slow moving, but it's doing okay so far. It's only up a few cents right now. I need to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I really want 1075 here on NX. I'd really like for this to get back to the VWAP. Feeling a little bit heavy here, though. I might have chased this a little bit just because I've been missing out on so many trades.
I'm raising my stop in NYCB. Man, ARM was. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something else. Wrong one. ARM looks like it's coming off a bottom, though. All right. I'm raising my stop to break even.
I want to see NX kind of take off here. Should have added back when Mark was looking at that 965 area. I'd already be paying myself on the way out here.
Okay. All right. Come on. Let's go, NYCB. Let's go. Take out that intraday high of 490 and change.
I like this. This is actually not the first time I've heard this too. Lyft got 3 price target raises yesterday. All three of the houses that did that were bearish into the report, and all 3 price targets are $15 or below. So the stock's near 18. Classic analyst missing the move. You know what's funny about the whole analyst thing is that it seems like the analysts never lose, right? If the company reports better than earnings, it's better than the analysts expected. If they report worse earnings, it's worse than the analysts expected. The analysts never seem to admit that they're wrong on some of these, which I find funny, to say the least.
Their rule is probably don't write a report unless you have a way out.
Big being mentioned here by Gerald. Gerald, I know you've been watching this one. I know you've been watching this one for a while. Maybe we can actually get into that gap. Where did that gap start again? Let me look at one of my bigger charts here. I actually happen to have big pulled up on the other screen here. So let me figure, what was that exact high of that candle? 430 is where your gap starts on big. 415, your current price.
Looks like DTSS still going lower, but it seems like it's slowing down. I have a level here at 9. It's also a psych level. If we fall through that, I mean, I'm just going to stop looking at this for the rest of the day, probably. It's moving very slowly now.
On which one?
That was DTSS. China is open, going higher. Just this is the one. China is the ripper today.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah, FOMO got me, I think, on this one. Pretty pissed at myself, honestly.
That's their natural resource, man.
No, it's not. It's not. I didn't do China. I did NNOX because I thought for sure we were going to keep moving back towards the view app, but now it's just kind of coming back in.
All right.
Not a good day for Ryan here today, I'm afraid.
NYCB.
Hopefully it's early.
It's still having a hard time trying to get up there. I'm going to raise my stop just a little bit. I will not lose on this one. I'll not make a whole lot either, but I was looking for a break over 490, and so I was getting in at around VWAP. Maybe it still happens. Maybe it still works. Maybe it doesn't. But I need another few minutes before I find out if I'm wrong or right. Look at this China go. It is up to 750. I knew I should have taken this one too. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm pissed I didn't trade this one too.
Yeah, we can't be mad. You know, we missed the boat. There's going to be others. There'll be other ships sailing. I didn't even put levels in for this one, so I'm not quite sure where I would think this. Okay, so we're looking like what is this, blue sky territory? Maybe. Hold on, I got to go back further. Nope, it's not. 2013 levels we seem to be approaching. 2013, 2014.
Corey's saying they became an analyst because they got fired from running a hedge fund. Oh, that's funny.
Looks like I got stopped out of NYCB because it came back in. So, as they say, as those kids say, womp womp. Yeah, China was the one. And it's still going. So tempted, but I do not chase.
And Knox not breaking down, so maybe this will still work out here.
I nod now headed lower. Maybe I will.
Yeah, that really sucks, man. That really sucks. We're gonna have to look into that report and everything. But man, oh man, I actually had an order yesterday out for 1250 to sell partial of the position too, and it didn't get filled, and then the order canceled for this morning. Just an absolutely nightmarish start to the day today. Nightmarish start to the day.
Okay, DTSS is getting support from that $9 area, and it's trying to move back up.
Maybe this was where it bottomed here.
Well, yeah, that was the level I was referring to. $9. That's a level I've had for as long as we've been trying to trade this.
Bounced clean off that too.
But we just need to see this candle close. I've got another minute.
And Knox coming back in here did not do a good job on this one either. CHNR continuing to go. Man, oh man. Man, oh man.
It's probably going to be one of those things that comes in real fast too. Like, well, it's starting to do that now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Big Lot's still making new intraday highs. APLT looking at the test pre-market high. I'll take a look at that. APLT. Okay. Yeah, it's looking like what this 335 level is the level to get over right now.
On which one? Sorry.
This is APLT. This is being brought up by Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah, we looked at this one earlier. Remember, we said this one was flagging and likely not going to stay here. It looks like it is breaking out here.
Yeah, at 335 level seems to be where it needs to break out from. It does have a pretty good amount of sell orders between 338 and 350, and then a wall at 358. China coming back in. Okay. Is NYCB going to do the thing that I was waiting for now, and it just shook me out? Is that what it's doing?
That's really having trouble breaking to the upside there.
It is, but it's still holding these levels, and it's making me think that it could still make that move through 490.
Yeah, it's also not breaking down, which is encouraging.
And we're about to get an EMA across VWAP, which usually tends to be a pretty big move when that happens. All right, well, INOD is trying to come back up. It may have found a bottom from this move today, but we'll see.
But I'm not adding to it. I mean, I can't without looking to see if that short report is right or not, given the minus 25% in 3 minutes. I mean, that's brutal. Okay, NNOX, let's see if this works out here. Finally, we're getting that pop above. Let's see if we can get towards that VWAP. Got that at 1070. Like to get bailed out of at least something here. Here we go at 1050. A little bit of size there, but really not a whole lot. Let's see if we can take that 1050 spot out. 70, that VWAP. Would like to see it. I would like to see this do a CHNR, right? You'd like to see this move up to and through that VWAP. Really didn't buy a whole lot of this here, though, in this account.
That would be fantastic. Got a comment in Happy Hour chat. See sector rotation moving from tech to materials and energy. That's kind of what I was questioning when we were getting this big move in ALB, is if we were starting to see some material plays get a little bit more attention. Not saying that that's exactly what's happening, but it's something I'm looking for. You're going to do it, are you, NYCB? You're going to do that to me, aren't you? No, I just want this thing to
so here, this was from about 20 minutes ago. Jay was saying it looks like they're selling tech names and buying the beaten up sectors like the mid-sized banks, solar and energy. So we're getting confirmation of that now.
Yeah, the energy seems like a good idea. I don't know about the medium banks and solar. I think those are still too heavily dependent on rates. Not that energy isn't, but I don't think it's. Oh gosh, here we go. NYCB. I just knew it was going to do this. It hasn't broken yet, but it's just gearing up to. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so Jay, yeah. You posted that about
that's what I was saying. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we saw that earlier. I found it. That was about 20 minutes ago. Good spot there, Jay.
Yep.
1050 still this level here on NNOX. Would love to see this rocket through it here.
Looks like ARM is recovering almost at its open.
And gold. Sorry, Easy Mike. What were you adding that onto? Don't have the context. My apologies.
There was just up. Oh, bonds. Yeah. Well, I thought bonds were a little bit lower this morning compared to yesterday. Let me see what they're at now. Yeah, they're lower. I mean, relatively higher over the past, over the rest of the year so far, year to date.
You guys mentioning sound or sound? Sound, this might be curling up off the bottom there on sound. Like to see that get back to the VWAP. Kind of what I'm waiting for here on NNOX, if we can do it. TVGN halted.
Yeah,
this was a new issue here today. Boy, this is a big hot. I didn't even know anything about this one.
This a IPO?
Must be. Come on, NNOX. Are you going to break this 1050 here or no? It's going to break this 1050. Should probably put a stop in here just in case so I don't lose this.
Oh, go big.
and stopped out of NOx on the way back down. Shows a little bit higher than I wanted. We'll see if this keeps going though.
So I don't think it was mentioned yet, but China is suspended or halted to the downside.
I have not. Let me flip over to it now that I'm out of that. So here we go. This is actually halted to the downside just above the VWAP. We'll see if it actually comes back in there.
Looks like SoundHound went up to VWAP, pulled back a little, getting support from 9 EMA, and looks like it wants to try to push through that VWAP now.
20 cents away from that VWAP.
And then there's a couple of walls on the way up, 355, 360. But we do have some good support. Let's see if we can break through. Not in it. Man, NYCB did not break through. But big keeps going.
That sound actually looks pretty good off that bottom. NYCB, this is the thing with these upside pops have really, really struggled. You're not getting that at all here.
And Knox, there you go.
I'm out of it already. I'm out of it already, so I'm not surprised. It stopped me out and then moved through VWAP. At least that worked. At least we got some green on the screen for that one.
There you go. Where's your register ring? There we go. Now all is right with the universe. Man, the biggest runner this morning is kind of like the biggest loser. JXJT just hasn't caught a break yet.
Yeah, like I was saying, that stock just had red flag all over it. All over it.
What are we thinking? We thinking we're getting a complete rotation out of tech here? Seems like, I mean, maybe just for the day, because we've talked about this before. Yesterday, today's winners or tomorrow's laggards, something like that.
Yeah, that's what we've seen.
What are you looking at now?
I'm looking around here. I'm actually looking at my scanner on Pro. Let me bring that up here real fast. We can look at the same thing. So it's just kind of flipping through some of the different stocks here that were on the scanner. You were taking a look at JXJT. NOx actually looking pretty decent. Looking like this is stopping at the... I've got a different VWAP here in Pro than I do on Trade the Pool. I just had Frog up there. Lyft continuing to push. This on 2-day move here on Lyft after those earnings. That really was a power earnings report. There was a mention here on JMAI earlier. Although I can't seem to resolve the chart here. Oh no.
China is open.
Real quick here. Where was that? Byron was mentioning here, Citron Research praising their quarterly results. JMIA up 26% here today. We have a position in Jumia.
Yep, NOx is moving as well.
There we go. Just needed to sell it a little too early. Yeah. Let me go back to the trading platform here.
Yacht insurance guy, you know, it just may be that there's just not enough appetite for that one. I didn't look and see what kind of size we're dealing with up at 490, but it doesn't look like it's a whole lot. But compared to the amount of buyers, it's quite significant. This thing had bad earnings, and you know, it just might not want to be touched or traded. I couldn't give you an exact reason why. It looked like it had a good formation. Still might break out, could, but just not right now. Look at NNLX go higher. Jeez.
Do I have to?
Nope, you don't have to. I'll just not even talk about it anymore.
No, I'm joking. It's just I struggle to think of anything I actually did correctly here today. I pretty much did everything wrong.
Yeah, it looks like 12 is the next
what it is.
Level there for that one. China falling beneath VWAP now. I guess they're out of their resource. Big lots pushing higher. We're gonna have to talk with Tom about this one. Okay. NVIDIA is above VWAP. Let's take a look at that.
Oops.
Well, what is this thing that I have here?
Sorry, I'm adjusting something on another screen here.
Well, it's trading. NVIDIA is trading up to a long-term trend line that I have. Never thought I'd see it get up this high. But we'll see. It could, it can do whatever it wants. I have no idea what NVIDIA. The valuation of NVIDIA is just absurd. So it can do whatever it wants at this point. It's going to not be pretty when it actually comes back to reality. But
I think that and SMCI really represent the big stocks that are going to crack if that eventually does happen. Those are the ones I'd be watching.
Tesla doing well today.
Yeah, how Shake Shack really holding up after those earnings. Tesla, remember we had that big power move off the open. This is actually taking another leg higher here on Tesla.
It's through both the levels that we were talking about. I had 194. I think. Who were you looking at that had 195? Is that trade to pool or?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see. That was one. Yeah, let me see. Hang on a sec. Yep, 195 was your resistance there from trade the pools levels here this morning. Looks like we went right through that. That was a monster though. 189 and 195 in just like the first hour of the market here. Just a great move there.
Yeah, and let me just check one more thing here because I'm curious. So, yeah, we've traded about 30 million shares in Tesla, but guess how much we've traded in SPY?
Is it low again?
Mm-hmm. Less than 5.
Less than 5 million shares. Oh, wow.
Less than 5. And we're
I've got session volume for SPY here at 9 million.
Okay, it's probably doing that thing where it's just not updating on the trade view chart.
Still low volume though. I mean, we're not even at 10 million shares here, and we're an hour past the open.
Let's see, update please. And yes, just over 9 million. You're right. I need to start switching to overview for that information.
And stick around because we actually have AB doing an interview here today. We're going to interview CoinDesk's Indices Global Head of Product, Andy Baehr. So AB will be joining us here in just a second. We'll be having some crypto discussion for all you crypto traders out there. I know yesterday was kind of a big day for crypto. Looks like we're doing it again here today. And it's actually moving some of those stocks that are connected to crypto as well. Coin's been having a really, really good couple of days.
Yeah, it is getting quite a bit of a sell-off this morning after reaching 52,860. I actually have another level just under 53K that I drew back in. When did I draw this? Bear with me and I'll tell you, because I've had these levels for years. This was drawn back around December 2021. All right, looks like I got my 925 INOD fill.
There you go. So continues to move lower. We're about to lose a 9 handle here. New lows on the day. That stock down 25%. Just an absolute disaster of a day.
So this could be a good, okay, so yeah, it could be a good bounce play tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some work to confirm some of the stuff in the short report, though. That's the next step. I mean, this is the reaction to these short reports. Normally, they come out, sells off, it bounces, and then over several days, they actually figure it out. This is straight down. This is literally straight down. We had one bounce, lasted less than 5 minutes. Not good. Not good at all. Definitely going to have to confirm some of the stuff out of the report.
And if you want to get involved with that discussion today, and you are a Benzinga Pro subscriber, we will be discussing
the happy hour. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll be talking about this in the happy hour after the closing bell. We do that every Monday through Thursday. We talk about the market. So if you'd like to join us, subscribe.
Please do. We are going to have AB coming on here in just a second. Start up that interview. Caught the bounce and hollow, Lynn and Randy. All right, good stuff.
There are so many things just not holding up.
Yeah.
This is a pretty weak looking market right now.
Sure is. Market actually rolling over here too.
Yeah, I wonder what the next thing is we're waiting for. Let me check and see if
Shay, actually, I can appreciate this. I'll tell you this: buy every Spruce Point short. So that's something to keep in mind here. Today's was a wolf pack, unfortunately.
Drury updated finally. It's down 1% week over week. That was the same drop the previous week too. That's a very small drop compared to the run that we've had in this, where we were getting 20, 30, 40% move in a week. I think this is just the pullback before we go higher in shipping rates, because like I said, I don't think this shipping ordeal is over.
I don't either.
The Red Sea and the Suez Canal.
Not sure what happened to my screen there. There we go. There's AB.
What is up, y'all? 13, Ryan. How you guys doing today?
Doing all right. How are you, man?
Good. Good to be back. Good to be back in the office. Good to be back on live trading as well. But yeah, guys. So I'm going to be bringing on Andy Baehr from CoinDesk today. I just saw you guys talking about Coinbase, but now we're going to be talking with CoinDesk about one of their new indices. So without further ado, let me go ahead and if Andy's ready, gives us a thumbs up or something here in the background. We'll go ahead and bring Andy on. Andy, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Aaron. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us on Benzinga's live trading. Where are you joining us from?
I'm here from the Bullish office here in down near Union Square in New York City.
Nice, from New York City.
Yeah.
All right, well, Andy, let's hop right into it. Tell me about the CoinDesk 20 index, what it is, and why we should care about it as retail traders.
Yeah, for sure. So following the successful expansion of Bitcoin with the spot ETFs in the United States, some people want to take that and move down to a token by token kind of approach. Others think, you know what, now that I've learned enough about Bitcoin to care about crypto, just give me the index. And then the question is how do we want that index weighted? We created the CoinDesk 20 to be tradable, to be benchmarkable, and to be referenceable, and to really give investors kind of the right kind of proportions so they have exposure to all the top tokens in digital assets. So we rebalanced CoinDesk 20 to be no more than 30% Bitcoin, no more than 20% Ether. As you can see, the weights have expanded then as Bitcoin and Ether have gone up since the last rebalance. But you get exposure to a lot of other key tokens. And the most important thing is that Bullish Exchange has launched perpetual futures on the CoinDesk 20 index. They trade anywhere between $25 and $50 million a day. And you can go see those on the Bullish site. Those are eligible instruments for US investors, but they create liquidity. And so for all of the upstairs market makers and the sort of upstairs institutional crypto native market, these people are all trading CoinDesk 20 baskets in very big size right away. So we're trying to attack this from the liquidity side, from the investability side, and from the common sense side.
Got it. So it'd be like if someone wanted to go at long, say, the crypto space, but they didn't necessarily have any, conviction on Bitcoin versus Ethereum, and they just wanted to buy the whole bundle, they could, trade these futures on CoinDesk 20.
That's correct. So people who are eligible to trade perps can trade the perps every day, but the whole marketplace is going to start creating these kind of CoinDesk 20 index packages, and they'll be coming out in different forms pretty soon. It reminds me of 25 years ago when the QQQ started trading. That was a product that had institutional liquidity first for hedge funds. And then once that liquidity was sort of so massive, it became a very useful retail product for putting on or taking off exposure to the future of tech. And CoinDesk 20 tries to do the same thing for the future of finance.
Got it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's great to just have more options as a trader. And then, even if you're trading the coin specifically, being able to look at this and seeing, like you said, okay, now Bitcoin has grown more than some of these smaller coins over the, since the last rebalance. So you can kind of see what's strong and what's not strong. I mean, how's the reception of this been so far? What have been the most people that are trading this, like institutional or retail?
It's been an institutional hit from day one, because this is the first kind of methodology driven index perpetual futures contract, and that just hit the ground running. Since then, there are a couple of funds in different jurisdictions, which we can't talk quite about yet, but I can tell you that they are putting together sheets to be able to launch CoinDesk 20 products. And there are structured products also in the works, also different derivatives that we're thinking about. So the idea is just, once this thing is so liquid, it becomes its own thing. Indices like this have great properties, right? They offer diversification. Top indices tend to have entrants that are on their way up towards huge success. Between the last couple of rebalances, we did one in October, it rebalances quarterly, and the next in January. Solana tripled its weight in the index. So you were able to catch the momentum of Solana. It started at a 4% weight, and you can see here it rebalanced to an 11% weight. So CoinDesk 20 holders kind of caught that whole wave. So you get these sort of intra rebalancing momentum plays that really make the index quite strong. In fact, CoinDesk 20 outperformed Bitcoin from the mid-October to sort of beginning of January period, due to tokens like Solana that just, kind of totally ripped. The volatility of the index is comparable to Bitcoin. So you still get as much risk in the index as you would good kind of risk, but you at the same time get diversification. So look, there will always be those people who want to pick individual tokens, do their homework, and make their bets. But for others who like the dynamic of a very liquid index that they can sort of take all at once, CoinDesk 20 offers a solution for that.
Got it. And are these the components, are they like set 20, or will, can some leave and others come in if the weightings change, or if the market caps of those coins change?
That's a great question. So we rebalance the index. This is a methodology driven index. We have over $30 billion of methodology and governance driven indices that are tracked and referenced by the industry. And so we're the biggest and oldest index company. So this is a really formal index. Adds and deletes kind of happen in the same way as with other traditional finance indices. We reconstitute the index quarterly. So adds and deletes come in once a quarter, and then we rebalance to reestablish those caps to make sure that CoinDesk 20 holders are able to get enough altcoin exposure, and that the whole thing isn't kind of consumed with Bitcoin and Ether exposure. So those happen once a quarter. I have to say, it doesn't rebalance that much in the last kind of 18, 19 months since we launched the base date of the index. Only a couple of names have changed. So we really kind of, continue to contain really the top most important tokens.
Got it. Well, I can imagine for some maybe, coins that grow and then eventually could be included, it could be seen as a bullish catalyst that they're included in the index, just like a company that might get included in the S&P 500 after growing. What other investable, benchmarks do we have over here?
So we have a bunch of sector products that were very popular last year. People kind of wanted to pick smart contract platforms or computing or digitization. In the United States, of course, absent any kind of ETF support for those names, we really usually express those through managed account platforms on places like OnRamp. So through people's advisors, they can get exposure to those with professional trading, places like Truvius. But aside from that, CoinDesk 20, I think, is a really different approach, where we're starting with, let's just slam a bunch of institutional liquidity into this basket, make sure everybody knows what it's about and how to trade it, and then have things go from there. So, look, for specialty products, DIGS, as you can see below there, is a very sector balanced index to make sure that you're getting the best of every kind of crypto sector. We, of course, have a giant taxonomy with 500 tokens that's organized into sectors called DAX. And a lot of people who really think in sector terms, and whether they're carrying that over from equities or commodities, they like to think that way. But for most investors who really care about market structure, we think the Bitcoin market structure is growing really impressively. The Ether market structure will follow it. We really think the next big piece of market structure should be an index, and CoinDesk 20 is built specifically for that kind of use case.
Got it. Well, I mean, we had the big approval of ETFs a few weeks ago. Obviously, the price action of Bitcoin and other cryptos has been volatile since then. You had the big drop off, and then investors coming in and buying the dip. What other type of impacts have you seen so far since that regulatory change?
You brought up a really good point about volatility, because my background is in equity derivatives, and all of us think about a volatility skew where equities tend to be more volatile when they're crashing than when they're going up. Bitcoin at times, during many times, tends to be more volatile on the upside because people just get that sense of convexity. CoinDesk 20 also has exhibited larger volatility as it's been going up and down. I think that's one of the most kind of interesting and healthy parts of the market. Other things like oil and gold can be more volatile on the upside because people think of them as hedges against weak dollar. For digital assets, upside volatility means, hey, once that adoption engine gets started, don't get in front of it because it's going to be strong. So with almost $37 billion of ETF assets in Bitcoin, and that will soon be accompanied, we hope, by Ether assets. The demand is there. The network is stronger than ever. People are anticipating the Bitcoin halving in late April. And with the inflation concerns out there, even with delayed rate cuts, people are feeling stronger and stronger that Bitcoin is going to be a great sort of 1 to 5% addition to a traditional asset portfolio.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point about Bitcoin being more volatile on the upside compared to stocks, which I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because you, of course, have so much, FOMO buying from traders once Bitcoin and crypto does start rallying. And then on the flip side, you probably don't have as many people that are super, I guess, rushing to take profits, because a lot of people that buy and hold Bitcoin, you have the hodlers out there, and they are bought into it as a currency of the future and not just a speculative trade. It's not like, okay, I'm going to go buy Apple stock and try to make 5% on it. People are buying it because they think this is the currency of the future. So there may be a few less reasons to sell there.
I totally agree. There's two great ways to think about it. You definitely want to buy into the future, and you definitely want to buy an asset which has now established this fantastic network over 15 years, and you can just tell it's just getting started, right? The inflows into these ETFs has been so impressive. And we're just a couple of weeks in, right? We're just starting to see Bitcoin being added to model portfolios. Advisors really haven't even gotten their engines up to the right operating temperature yet. And when that starts to happen, inflows are going to continue. The other way to think about it is, well, the price of Bitcoin is in dollars, right? So you can look at the value of Bitcoin, but let's also think about the value of the dollar in which it's denominated. If I think about oil, or I think about gold, or anything else that's dollar denominated, there are two parts, right? Those assets go up when the dollar gets weaker. And so a lot of people feel like, well, my biggest exposure as a US investor is the strength of the dollar. And if I really need something that's going to help me as the dollar gets weaker, Bitcoin is a great thing to have.
What about, we're talking about Bitcoin volatility here? I mean, heading into the election this year, do you think this could, we could see an increase in volatility as we head into November? And do you think that it could even be potentially a talking point on the campaign trail?
Boy, I hope it's a talking point, and I would love to see it be a talking point in a macro context rather than a regulatory context. There's still a ton of Bitcoin market structure to build. We want to have even more products. I hope we have an ETF options market, but I'd love to see a native Bitcoin options market. And these are all sort of regulatory baby steps. From the macro point of view, Bitcoin is going to react to people's inflation expectations in the future, and the thought about where central bank puts rates in the future, which presents kind of a competing kind of an investment allocation space. So to the extent that the election kind of focuses on those issues, and to the extent that what's after the election starts to look murky and hazy, people, I think, are going to start to feel better and better about allocating to Bitcoin as the relatively stable thing compared to what U.S. politics can do. So it's ironic that Bitcoin has changed from this highly speculative, highly volatile, like over 100 vol type of asset to almost the adult in the room, right? That's 15 years old. And when you have these binary events with very uncertain outcomes, Bitcoin can almost be like the safe place to be. I can't believe I just said that, but I think it's kind of true in this case.
No, no, I 100% when you're talking, of course, tying it back to the CoinDesk 20 index. I mean, it's like how if you were buying the Qs, you get exposure to something like an Apple or that's not that volatile compared to maybe some of the other smaller components in the Qs that might be, you know, a little bit more growth oriented or whatever it is. So you can kind of get best of both worlds where, okay, you have Bitcoin, which like you said, is kind of more the adult in the room, but then you also have exposure to some of these smaller Dogecoin or Shiba Inu. So because I mean, Bitcoin's probably not going to go up 100% in a week right now from 50,000 to 100,000. It could. I mean, it has before, but one of those smaller coins, it might. So there's a way to get exposure to both now. And yeah, that's
correct. And that was, you know, you guys, I heard talk about NVIDIA earlier, you know, before I got on, and that's another example of a name that just, you know, it didn't come out of nowhere, but it kind of came from the depths of some of these market cap weighted indices, and suddenly it's an extremely important name. So you kind of want to own that momentum of smaller names getting bigger within an index. It's just a great way to allocate without necessarily having to pick individual names and rebalance your portfolio. There's incredibly strong momentum in digital assets. We have a trend indicator for Bitcoin that you can actually buy in a product form that just tracks the trend of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin's heading down, it allocates to cash. And that kind of, you know, is a fantastic risk management tool. Many tokens have, especially the growthier ones, have strong time series momentum. So you pick all of that up as the influence of those tokens gets bigger. Solana is a great example from the last rebalance. So it's not sort of the boring kind of unadventurous choice to have an index. You get a lot of undercurrents in there that can really kind of, you know, fuel your performance while still giving you the only free lunch in finance, which is diversification.
There you go. Going back to, you know, I guess talking about the rates and inflation. I mean, for a long time, people have, you know, bought Bitcoin as an inflation hedge, but over the past few years, as we've seen inflation tick higher, then that means rates are ticking higher, and Bitcoin has struggled in those times. Do you think we're going to continue to see that, you know, correlation there, or do you think at some point, you know, it will break out as this inflation hedge, and that maybe you can see in times where inflation and rates are looking like they're heading higher, so is Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's a great point. In 2022, I think some people felt a little disappointed that as spot inflation was going higher, Bitcoin was actually struggling. And kind of two responses to that. First of all, you know, assets like Bitcoin and many other assets get priced for future expectations, not for what's happening today. And when we really started to hit the top of spot inflation in the U.S. market, that's when people started to assume that the Fed was going to have to cool things down a little bit by making monetary supply a little bit looser. So, in a way, you know, the inflation expectation was more kind of in line with Bitcoin's rise even before 2022. Look, when the Fed moves interest rates up from kind of 0 to kind of 5+%, that has so many effects on market structure. It had certainly it was the tide going out, and you know, seeing who was wearing a bathing suit or not, you know, to kind of paraphrase Warren Buffett's famous statement. And I think that just caused trouble for any asset that required market structure underneath it. Of course, criminal activity was discovered. So that was an overall bad time where I think Bitcoin started to drift from its fundamentals to kind of crisis mode. But you can see how it sprang back. It reacted really kind of nicely and elegantly to the inflation news on Monday. Came back as more people are willing to hold it in place, expecting that, again, if we keep having this kind of inflation that's hard to contain, the dollar gets weaker, and that's just the denominator of the price of Bitcoin. As for the CoinDesk 20, you get not complete sector diversification, but you certainly get a lot of smart contract platform presence in the index. And when you think about Bitcoin as this kind of macro asset, doesn't have a yield on it, doesn't have any kind of internal cash flows. It's just a a supply constrained, very well understood, very old asset. And then you have something like Ethereum or the other layer ones, whose future is really based on growth and how much people are going to use those networks. You have almost the equivalent. I don't want to say it's like a 60-40 kind of deal, but you have kind of a nice combination of sort of macro-oriented and growth-oriented tokens. Ethereum actually went in the opposite direction to Bitcoin when the inflation number came out.
Interesting.
Partly because of the anticipation of ETFs being approved as early as May or as late as by the end of the year. But also because, it kind of shakes off this kind of inflation thing. Inflation is good. It means that demand is high. And it suggests that demand for smart contract platforms and demand for the Ethereum network will continue to be strong. One way that we measure the strength of demand for the Ethereum network is to track the rate that validators receive for staking. That's partially a function of how many validators are validating on the network, but it's also a function of how much people are paying extra fees to be able to execute transactions sooner on the network. That's called Caesar. And whenever we see that spike, we know that very short-term demand for the network is exceeding kind of block size. So that's been pretty stable, pretty resilient. So there's definitely between Solana and Ethereum and the layer twos, there's just a lot going on with that growth side. So investors should think about both, and rather than just picking one layer one and hoping they get it right, CoinDesk 20 gives you a lot of exposure there.
Well, there you go. You guys now have a new way that you can trade crypto as an index, the CoinDesk 20. We've been on the line with Andy Baehr, head of product at CoinDesk Indices. Andy, thank you for joining us on Benzinga's live trading today.
Had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you do the same. All right, guys, let me go ahead and bring Ryan and 13 back on the stream. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Doing all right. Just managing this INOD trade here.
All right, well, I'll let you guys talk about the trades that you're in. We got about 5 more minutes left of the show, and then I understand that we have a very exciting webinar coming up. So I'll let y'all get back to it. I'll be hanging out backstage if y'all need anything.
All right, let's get it.
All right, let's get it. I like that. It's funny. I was actually watching CHNR throughout that entire thing. Really quickly, I just want to point out, though. Sorry, I'll get the windows straight here in a second. 13. I want to point out that one of the craziest things that Andy said in that recent interview is that Bitcoin is likely to be the safest. And I like how he even said, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but it is. I kind of feel the same way, especially with more and more of these other coins coming on. But anyway, we were watching CHNR while that interview was going on. This busted through, reclaim the VWAP. It's holding here. I think we might have another potential trade here. Don't know if this is going to trade up or trade down, but so far, this really kind of holding in at the VWAP. Keep this one on your watch list. I think this finally breaks away. Let me bring up INOD here. It looks like we are bouncing here. I've done nothing to my position. When these short reports come out, just full disclosure here, when these short reports come out, I do not overreact in any way possible. I actually want to go through, verify some of that stuff myself. I know this is going to be a topic of discussion on Happy Hour, so I haven't done anything yet. Was thinking about adding, but some of the stuff that I was reading from the short report make the stock look phony. Straight up.
Yeah, I was just reading some of that too toward the end of Andy's presentation there, and I decided I'm not going to completely close out of it, but I'm going to shave off some of what I got. I'm down to an average cost of $9.50 a share, and we're slightly above it right now. So I just took a little bit off the table. I want to see what if we can verify some of these things in the short report, and then I'll decide what to do with the rest then.
Yeah. So are you day trading this around your core? It sounds like then, or you were already out of most of your core position, weren't you?
I was completely out of this before today.
Okay. Okay, well, good stuff. You did a really good job there adding and got that average down at 950. So we'll see where INOD goes here. Like I said, just for my particular trade plan, this was extremely disappointing, but not over yet. We'll see where this ends up finishing.
Yep. And other things that are moving. Looks like I think I just saw somebody saying that they were getting back into Jay Summers back in NNOX. I guess there's a something he's seeing here with the price moving back up.
This to me looks like it's breaking back down. In fact, this to me looks like next leg lower down to that 960, 950 area we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it's been getting support around 920 throughout the regular session and in pre-market. So that would be the first level of support that I think we'll get. After that, we have the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which is around 885. But I agree. I think this is probably going lower unless we can get back up above the 65 EMA.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It doesn't look great. Take a look at the scanner here. I know for all you penny players that are still left out there, SIEN, this looked to be the penny stock of the day. Gave you 2 moves of almost the exact same length on that. I know one of the big stocks we were talking about today was going to be Sound. We told you about that being, an old, not necessarily a new contract. Looks like the market's figuring that out here today. This has done pretty much nothing but sell off today.
Yeah, and I'm also seeing we talked about some of those gambling companies like DraftKings and Penn. Penn had earnings this morning, and it's not good. They're down 13% right now.
DraftKings down from the pre-market highs. Here's Penn off that backside of that earnings report. That is moving lower here. Looks like another leg down here on Penn.
Yeah, and this
tell you
is
what, that whole Super Bowl thing, 13, that was a sell the news event.
Yep, we've been saying that, and it was.
We have.
That it's just been a very consistent thing that we've been seeing with these particular stocks and the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl's over and they have earnings right after that, it's like, okay, well, that seems like a good time to take profits if you don't want to hold into the earnings.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. The other thing is that when we had first tried trading this, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, we talked about the NFL starting up. And the thesis was that, well, maybe more people are going to use DraftKings because the NFL is king, more people likely to bet on football games than probably any other sport. And even that ended up being a sell the news, right? We didn't actually get any type of appreciation in the stock price from that. So tough to kind of come up with like a thesis on how you're going to trade this based on the events that actually take place on the calendar.
Good job, Lynn Williams, scalping that big lots.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Got too preoccupied this morning, but big looked pretty good. All right. As Aaron mentioned, we are going to have a webinar coming up here at 11. That's 3 minutes away. 13 and I are going to take you all the way to that webinar. As we always do, join us for our upcoming webinar where we'll embark on an immersive exploration into the cutting-edge advancements and transformative strategies shaping the future of mining. So stay tuned as we uncover the insights and expertise that will propel you forward in this ever-evolving landscape. Given the moves in Bitcoin that we've seen recently, definitely excited for that. So stick around, folks. We're going to be wrapping here in just a couple of minutes. I know we don't have a whole lot going on. Any closing thoughts for you, 13, or from the chat?
Well, I really can't say for sure. It's not looking like it's going to be a good day if we continue to just kind of go sideways in the SPY, and seeing how all the things that we were looking at this morning are just not moving up like we have seen in the past. I'm going to be a little bit more careful today. And I think it'd probably be in your best interest to do the same, folks.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I'm also going to be doing the same thing. Like I said, I've got some homework now to do. But as far as new trades go, I'm going to be very, very careful in here. It is worth noting that we said before we were going to, kind of watch and figure out where things are going to go. I'm not sure we got any type of sign today here, right? We talked about SPY maybe consolidating. I'm not sure which directions. We just keep consolidating here. I'm not sure which direction we're going to break, whether we break out or break down.
The consensus was, yeah, we're going to definitely fill that gap that we were talking about. And then who knows what happens after that. And pretty much the entire market's like, yeah, who knows? because they're just hanging out right here at the top of just beneath 500 on the SPY. So,
all right, 13. Thanks so much. We're going to get going.
Bye,
Take care, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow. Take care.